Hi, and welcome to Kangaroos, the podcast. We provide incredibly local content for our incredible local realtors. Today, we have a great episode. I'm Andrew here with Rachel. Good to see you. Hi.
What are my eyes saying? What are my eyes saying right now?
It's a good day, everybody.
It's a good day.
Rachel, we're going to start off with the question of the day. Can I ask it to you first?
Yeah, just prepare yourself for the answer.
Yeah. Rachel, what is your favorite part of Kangaroost?
My favorite part of Kangaroost is our members. It's really fun to work with all the people that we work with. Andrew would have preferred that I said my favorite part of Kangaroost is working with Andrew, which is sometimes true. But today it's definitely the people we work with. What about you, Andrew? Choose your answer wisely.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is Rachel's handed me a script to read. My favorite part of working is with Rachel. My favorite part about Kangaroost is getting to serve our clients, getting to work with them to get them up to speed and where they ought to be on socials, and to see the light turn on. That's really, really fun for me. So working with our people.
It's really good to see people who, I don't want to say we're struggling, but we're just honestly so overwhelmed. And it's fun to be able to help them not feel as overwhelmed. I agree.
That's right.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. Thank you. So our 1-minute marketing term of this week is competitive advantage. A condition or circumstance that puts a company in a favorable or superior business position. So what makes you the best? Why would somebody choose you over a competitor? And it could be for a whole list of reasons. But you know what? You only need one. You need one reason that you will drill into the minds of your audience that will cause them to choose you. So today, for this episode, we're going to be tackling all things competitive advantage. So let's talk about us, Rachel. Let's talk about Kangaroost. Let's talk about Kangaroost as a marketing platform. What do you think our competitive advantage is?
There are so many things. One, I think service is really a part of who we are. So we care about you and your business, your personal business, as in like how you are performing, how you are doing as a whole. So we really do care about that. We care about your overall strategy. So we love sitting down and talking through your business in general, like I just said, but how social media is a part of that. But then all the other things that you might want to talk through because you just need a listening ear. Andrew and I love to do that. So I think that's one thing that sets us apart. We really try to be more than a service, which we are. I think we have really great content. We are very strategic in the way that we plan and design that. We are also doing a lot of continued education ourselves on social so we can help you understand all the things that are changing, so that it's one less thing that you have to go search, because it's not always just out there for you to know. You kind of have to dig a little bit to understand all those things. So those are things I think we do. We really are just trying to be more of a good servant than just some platform that takes your money. That's not how we want to be perceived, and not how we want to be at all.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
I think our competitive advantage is that we're local. We know what it feels like to be stuck in traffic the same way that you know. We know the highs of making the playoffs and the lows of not making it past the first game of the playoffs. We know what it feels like to be in our city. And so I think that that is incredibly helpful when you're trying to curate a social media feed that is about local real estate. And so if you know Nashville, or if you know any of the other cities that we're in, you are the expert. You appear to be the expert. So we've got strategy and design, and this podcast is great. And all of it, in my opinion, points back to being really, really local. So let's look at real estate.
Part of it for sure. Let's look at it.
How do we uncover what somebody else's competitive advantage is? And we've got a few ideas that we're going to walk through in the next couple of minutes. So step number one, you're going to take a look at yourself. So you get to do the old self-evaluation that we talked about a couple episodes ago now, but many, many years ago, half my life ago, I asked people, almost everybody I met, I would say, I've got 3 questions, sometimes 4. And they would say, okay, let's hear those 3 questions, sometimes 4. Question number 1 is, what are you passionate about? So what is it that you geek out about more than anything else? Everybody's got something. What is it that causes you to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about? What causes you to pound the table whenever you start talking about it? What are you passionate about? Second question I would ask is, what do you want to change? So if there's anything in the world that you want to change, what is it? You can pick anything big or small. You can change that. What would it be? And those answers would be all over the map, and they were so interesting. And, some people would always want to, tackle world hunger, or they want to change their school board, or they want to change, things about their family, and you can change any of those. And that's great. Third question is, how are you going to use what you're passionate about to affect what you want to change? So I've got a buddy that, geeks out on magic. And not necessarily magic, magicians, the skill level that it takes to be a really skilled magician. He's like, it takes so much practice and so much time to get really good at magic. He's like, that's what I'm interested in. I said, okay, that's great. How can you use that to impact what you want to change? And he's like, man, I think it's the skill level. Like, I've got to put in my reps in order to affect what I want to change. He's like, man, there you go. That's great. So there are my 3 questions. The sometime 4th question, again, as a mid-20s guy, was, who do you have a crush on? So more often than not, people would tell me who they had crushes on, and that was always equally as interesting. So there you go.
Just be aware, if you schedule a coffee with Andrew, the 4th question might come about, and he'll make it really awkward.
I try my best.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Step 2 is to ask your friends what you're good at, or what maybe you could use work on. You want friends that'll be honest with you. Those hard truth friends, those are the good ones to ask. It feels tricky, but you want feedback that's actually going to help. So even if it's a little hard to hear, and honestly, probably that truth deep down in your heart, and it's more of a confirmation of things that you might already feel need to be worked on or changed. Or maybe it's a skill set that you just don't quite have the confidence in yourself, even though you're really good at it, and your friends are going to be the one to confirm that to you. It doesn't always have to be negative, but those friends will help you see gaps, or they'll also confirm that you're really good at that. And maybe that is some direction that you need to take because of your talent or gift in that area.
Yeah, I think you could even prompt them and say, like, hey, Rachel, do you think I'm good at fill in the blank? And you would say, absolutely not. Like, no, that is not your skill set. And you're like, okay, great. So now I can mark that off my wish list or my dream journal. But the most important thing to do is you are asking for vulnerability from your friends. And so what you need to do, regardless if they give you a great answer or the worst answer ever, you just need to thank them. So that is the most important thing. Say, thank you for being honest. Thank you for helping me get better. Thank you for sharing.
Yep. And it's really up to you to create the space in which those friends feel like they can be honest with you. So this is when you agree with yourself. You're going to prepare yourself to not take a defensive posture. It probably isn't even needed, honestly. But for those who might have trouble hearing criticism, this is criticism that you've asked for so that you can improve. It's not a negative thing. It's yep, I need to hear that. I need to reframe the way I think about this. Or, hey, it's really nice that someone else is confirming that I'm I'm as great as I thought I might be at this. And so now I feel more confident in taking this step, whereas I might have been a little wishy-washy before. Also, just to clarify before Andrew starts again, I'm not always mean. I might say, Andrew, I think you're really great at that, and I think you should pursue it. Just so we all are clear here.
That's fair. I appreciate that. I also think in the same way that you should not posture yourself in a defensive way, but you should also not just explain it away. Like let them tell you their honest feedback and just say thanks. Like there's no reason to say, well, the reason why I do that is this. And you're like, they don't need to know. They don't, like, this is just for you to get better. So step number 3 is talk to your previous clients that love you and ones that maybe you didn't necessarily have the best relationship with. But if they stuck with you to be clients, my guess is they will want to talk to you. So this one you might be already pretty good at, but you want to ask them for a recommendation. So you can put this on your own website. You can put this into socials, but you're just going to say, hey, what did you enjoy about working with me? So they might say that you were super knowledgeable about the neighborhoods, or that you brought them waters whenever you walked through houses. And then you need to double down on that. So if you start getting a certain number of similar results, you've got to double down. So if everybody says, man, I really love that you brought us waters, then every time you go to a house, you should be bringing waters with you. So whatever it is, whatever they tell you is good, double it down.
Step 4 is a little trickier potentially, but it's talking with potential clients. So one of the ways that we would suggest, going about doing that would be to maybe have a questionnaire. So you could say, what are the things that you're looking for in a realtor? What have you ever worked with realtors before, and how was that experience? What did you love about working with your previous realtor? What really bothered? If there was anything that wasn't great about working with the previous realtor, what were those things? Just so you can, 1, be in tune with your clients. 2, there's something about setting expectations on the front end that really helps everyone succeed a lot better when you know what those are. You can manage expectations a lot easier when you know what those expectations are. If those aren't established, then you might be doing something that 4 other people would say, oh, that's no problem. But this one particular client, because of who knows why, has a problem with it. Well, if you know it on the front end, you know how to avoid it, or at least dance around it a little bit. So it's just a good way to kind of, like we said, manage expectations on the front end so that you're able to deliver really, really good experience throughout.
This is a really good feedback loop. So what you're going to do for step 5 is you're going to take a look at all of those things that people have told you, find the similarities, and then you're just going to test it out. You're going to see if this new and improved, amplified version of yourself is any good. So you're going to work super diligently and super intentionally about leaning into these new things people have shared with you, and you're going to see if it works. Now, you might need to dial some of them back, and you might need to dial some of them up, but you need to lean into what they're telling you to do. So this is what people love about you.
Sorry to interrupt. I think you made a really good point. We've talked about this before, which is what this is not. And this is not turning yourself into someone that you're not.
Correct.
So this is really just maybe fine-tuning things that you're not terrible at, but could always be better, because we all have a list of those. This is not turning yourself. If you are not a super extroverted person, you don't need to be putting yourself into places in which you're having to be super extroverted, because that's not who you are, and that will wear you out.
It's exhausting. That's right.
It's exhausting, and that will burn you out, and that's not what you need to do. It's Andrew and I have a lot of conversations that aren't necessarily realty related about finding the right people and putting them in the right seat on the bus. They just might, if they're not succeeding in a particular role, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they might not be doing the right thing or be in the right seat. But if I move them over here, they're going to thrive. And so that would be the same principle that we're asking you to apply, is play up your strengths, and work on those places that aren't not strengths, but just you haven't cultivated.
That's right. Little tweaks here and there. Really good discussion. So 5 easy steps on how to get your competitive advantage nailed down, separate yourselves from the competitors. Hey, we have a local question.
We do. If you have people visiting from out of town, so maybe it's clients, maybe it's family, where do you tell them they must go while they're here?
This is a fun question because it really could be anywhere in Nashville. Gosh, I hate that I'm even saying this. If somebody has not ever been on Broadway, I say you have to go. You have to go once, and then that's it. And most everybody that I have said that to has been like, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, that's great. We went to the honky tonks and saw all the other tourists that were here. And I never need to do that again. But my personal favorite, a place where you have to go, is Percy Warner Park. Goodness gracious, what a way to get lost in the woods in the middle of a really bustling city. You can escape for a few hours into nature, and it's pretty great. What about you?
This is not what I was going to say, but that made me think of Radnor is very much the same way.
Radnor's great.
So it's like you're in the middle of everything and really wouldn't know once you're at Radnor that you're in the middle of town, quite literally. There are so many ways to answer this. I think it depends on who is coming. So if you're a person with children and need to keep children busy, that is not the Broadway experience, probably. I would say maybe the Science Museum is pretty great for kids, or sometimes the Frist has very child-friendly exhibits. Even the zoo, the Nashville Zoo, has made a lot of changes and is pretty fun, especially if it's a one-time thing. Our family has membership because we just like to find ways to burn time that it's not at home. And so it's nice to be able to go and spend an hour there and be done, not feel like we've paid to only spend an hour there, you know? But again, I think there's also a lot of music venues that are not commercial feeling. So it's not the Bridgestone Arenas. It's not the honky tonks. It is the people who are, not that those other people aren't great musicians. I don't mean to sound like that. It's a different kind of music scene in Nashville that is a little bit more under the radar, I guess. It is not the bars on Broadway. It's the 12th and Porter. Right? You
can truly find any music.
Third and Lindsley. There's the Exit Ends. Cannery Ballroom just closed. I think Mercy Lounge just closed, which is sad, and was my whole first 3 years of Nashville. I spent a lot of time at those places. So it's a little nostalgic, but sad to see it change. But there are always new places to go, and there's plenty of them here. You kind of have to dig a little. If you're from out of town, those would be the places that you'd have to dig a little harder to find, but it will be worth your while. It's a totally different scene, but very much the true Nashville scene, if that makes sense.
That's right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode. If you sign up for Kangaroost, if you need help with your social media, we provide a month worth of content for your socials. And we've got a discount code for you. So if you want to sign up for your first month 50, we'll put it in the show notes, but first month 50 is going to give you 50% off your first month. So that's pretty great.
Pretty great. I get to be the one that asks for things this time. But if you would rate and review the podcast, if you enjoyed it, we would love that, because it helps us tell other people all the things that you might like about listening to Andrew and I bicker. But we'd also hope that you're finding it helpful as well.
We'd love to hear from you. Andrew at kangaroos.com and Rachel at kangaroos.com. We'd love to buy you coffee. Let's meet.
It's true. We do love coffee, and there's a lot of great places in Nashville to get it.
That's right. All right. Good to see you.
See you later.
We'll see you next week. Bye.